You're watching Twin Tiers Sunday with Renata Steele.
Hello and welcome to Twin Tiers Sunday. I'm Renata Steele with WENY HD News, and I am joined this week by Coleen Fabrizi with Corning's Gaffer District and Mike Wayne, who is the Senior Vice President and Marketing Director for Chemung Canal Trust Company. And the reason they're here this week is because it is one of the biggest weekends of the year coming up, Memorial Day weekend, and of course that has become synonymous with Corning GlassFest, the 4th annual Corning GlassFest coming up May 23rd through the 26th. Just hard to explain. We're going to take a lot of time focusing on just how many events and things there are for people to do at Corning GlassFest, so we encourage you, of course, to come out and check it out. But Coleen and Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me. And Coleen, I want to start with you because it is the 4th annual Corning GlassFest, still a relatively new event, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. But I want to learn a little bit more about the conception of the event.
Well, it all started as a result of the Glass Arts Society, which came to town back in 2005, I believe it was. Seems like such a long time ago. It was an absolutely fantastic week in Corning's Gaffer District. It was a wonderful week for the businesses, for the visitors, for the residents. It was a celebration of glass, and Rob Cassetti, actually, from the Corning Museum of Glass, came to us shortly after that successful event and said, hey, since you do events, and you do them pretty well, is there a chance you'd consider an annual event? And the rest, as they say, is history.
And now, of course, everybody knows Corning as the Crystal City, and glass is really that rich history kind of has laid the foundation for the city. And now, of course, it's so at the heart of the weekend is a celebration of glass. But there is so much more to it than that. We'll talk about so many of these wonderful events. And now, Mike, for you and for Chemung Canal Trust Company, you're the presenting sponsor. Why was this an attractive event to kind of attach your organization to? And I know Chemung Canal makes a point to be involved in the community and have their presence known, but why was GlassFest a good fit for Chemung Canal?
Well, you're right, Renata. Quality of life issues are very important to the bank, both for our employees to retain and attract good talent, and for the communities that serve and provide us a tremendous amount of customer business. So when Coleen approached us, we were transitioning away from the LPGA, which was a very beloved event that we were very involved in as well. And so we knew that there was going to be a void, and what the Gaffer District and Coleen and her committee was proposing seemed like just a natural fit to try and move away from the excitement of golf and into a really, probably a little bit more of a family event through GlassFest.
And now, of course, we know that the LPGA Corning Classic was part of the Corning community on Memorial Day weekend for 30 years. And when that event went away, a lot of people were left wondering, okay, well, now what do we do Memorial Day weekend? So it seemed like that was also, you know, this was a good seamless transition for GlassFest to keep people having something to look forward to on Memorial Day weekend.
Absolutely, I would agree. And there are so many people that were, you know, a little hesitant to embrace this new fill for the Memorial Day weekend. But fortunately for us, they found so much value in GlassFest that they're coming back. It's not to say they don't miss their LPGA, but they're embracing GlassFest and enjoying every piece of it.
Well, and I think also because of that, they've wanted to help year after year after year. So each year it has gotten better and bigger, and a lot of that is because people have told us, wow, this is really great. How about, could we consider doing this, that, or the other thing? And so Coleen and the committee have worked really, really hard to expand to meet what really the customers want, and that's the general public and lots of tourists who are visiting our area of the southern tier that weekend.
And of course, most of the events are focused on Market Street and Riverfront Centennial Park and Centerway Square, with some things happening at the Glass Museum as well, 2300 degrees specifically, and we'll talk about that too. But again, it gets people downtown, and I'm sure that the business owners that you deal with on a day-to-day basis are loving seeing this little boost that they're getting every weekend to their businesses and their restaurants and their bars.
Absolutely, and they'll tell you that although they were also great supporters of LPGA, this, as Mike alluded to, is different. It's bringing thousands of people downtown and spending money and enjoying themselves and deciding this isn't going to be my only trip to Corning this year and coming back. It's been a very good thing for our businesses, and they're very enthusiastic, each and every one of them. And it's throughout the district. We have businesses both on the south side of the river and the north side, and both sides are extremely excited to be involved in GlassFest.
And of course, any economic boost that comes as a result of that weekend, good for our communities and good for Chemung Canal as well.
Well, it's good. Everybody benefits. I mean, when the hotels are filled and the restaurants are filled and the storekeepers are selling their items, that's a win-win for everybody. And what we've seen is so many people just wandering up and down the streets, and they come Thursday night and they spend a couple hours maybe on Friday, maybe they take Saturday off and they come back on Sunday. There's just something for them to do in whatever amount of time that they're able to make available that weekend. And that's really exciting.
And one of the things is it's not just Friday and Saturday, it's Thursday as well. The weekend starts on Thursday when it comes to GlassFest. And talk a little bit, Coleen, about the kickoff event for that. There's you've heard of 2300 degrees at the Corning Museum of Glass. Maybe you've been to 2300 degrees before, but this one has a whole different kind of energy to it.
Absolutely. Many people will tell you the biggest and best party in town is 2300 degrees, and I'm a little partial, but I'd say that GlassFest 2300 degrees is the best. And we have a tradition where at the 5 o'clock whistle, we have the glass ribbon cutting. And this year, Mike will be cutting our glass ribbon. Kind of a thrill.
We hope without incident.
And we have special guests this year to the entire weekend, but our guests will first meet them at the ribbon cutting, and it's a contingent of business owners and politicians, and the VI Glass Show people will be there. And it is the San Giovanni Sister City program.
Okay,
Yes.
and now that's our Corning's Italian sister city, correct?
Yes, yes. And it's really exciting that they're going to be able to be a part of this. Their Gaffer will be doing some guest demonstrations on our stage, as well as the wineries participating in the wine and beer tasting on Friday night, and a special VIP wine tasting as well. So we're very, very excited about it.
And now you mentioned briefly the wine and beer tasting that's happening on Friday. When we come back, we're going to talk about that along with many of the other events that are happening all weekend that you can enjoy. And of course, this is a family-friendly event as well, so we want to talk about some of the stuff that's available for the kids and really people of all ages. So please stick around for our next segment of Twin Tiers Sunday.
Twin Tiers Sunday will return in a moment.
And welcome back to Twin Tiers Sunday on WENY HD News. I'm talking with Coleen Fabrizi from Corning's Gaffer District and Mike Wayne from the Chemung Canal Trust Company. We are talking about the 4th annual GlassFest coming up Memorial Weekend here in Corning. And we were just talking about some of the events, the kickoff events being 2300 degrees at the Corning Museum of Glass. That's Thursday, May 23rd. We're going to cut, Mike is going to cut the glass ribbon and officially kick off the event, which goes all the way through Sunday. And there's so many things to do. So we want to talk about some of those events, whether you are looking to maybe imbibe a little bit and join some beer and wine tasting, or you want to take the kids out for a good time. And another thing to point out is there's so much stuff that is free, that doesn't cost anybody anything. And I think we're still dealing with some tough economic times, so that's a very attractive option, especially I think to families. So let's talk about just, we'll start with Friday and kind of work our way down through the weekend with what we can expect. And Coleen, you mentioned in the last segment there is the beer and wine tasting on Friday, so why don't we just start with that?
Sure. The beer and wine tasting is the only piece that there is a charge for, but it's very reasonable. $15 a person, you get the commemorative glasses, wine and beer. And it's a selection of wineries from throughout the Finger Lakes and breweries, but we also have the added guests from the Italian wines, which I think will be a neat addition. And then carrying through on Saturday, we have the street will be closed, and we have the big street fair that'll be happening. Oh, wait a minute. See, it's happening. There's so much. You can't possibly remember it all. We have Nick and the Nice Guys in the park on Friday night. Again, a fantastic addition to the weekend.
And they're a huge hit with adults and kids alike.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we also have the return of the GlassFest Express. And I don't know how many people remember last year, but through our friends at Norfolk Southern Railroad, they brought in the train all lit up with huge banner on the side reading GlassFest Express. And I had no idea how many people would ooh and ah over this train. It was fantastic. It was a big surprise. But this year we're going to let people know because so many said, why didn't you tell us about the train? So the train's coming. Make sure you be there. And that'll be on Friday night.
Okay. And of course there is also, really, we mentioned at the heart of this, it is a celebration of glass. You can enjoy hot glass demonstrations and a flame off, which is a competition or contest, correct?
Flame workers. This is our third year with the flame off,
Yep.
and the popularity of that continues to grow. It happens in our parking garage, which people might think is kind of weird. Mike and I actually thought it was kind of weird.
First year it was.
But it is one of the most eclectic and fun experiences of the weekend. Would you say, Mike?
What's really neat about it, especially for someone who isn't as knowledgeable in classes as our performers will be, they're actually going to make something from basically nothing, and then it will be judged later on in the weekend. And all weekend long, you'll be able to go in and sit down and watch, and they'll narrate what they're doing. And one of the advantages of being in the parking garage is it gets you out from under the sun.
True.
We know it's going to be a great weekend. I'm sure Joe Veras will take care of that for us. And that'll allow you to go in, you can sit down, and you can really watch what's being done by some wonderful artisans. And they've made some spectacular things over the course of the first 3 years. And what I find to be very interesting is, unless they tell you right up front, I keep guessing, and usually I'm wrong right up until the time when they finish it, because they're that talented.
And of course, in Centerway Square, if you've never had the pleasure of taking in a hot glass demo at the Glass Museum, they'll be doing that as well.
Absolutely. And I don't think there's ever been a demonstration throughout the weekend in years past that every seat is full. People absolutely love it. I think the work of the gaffers is something to behold, and they do such a fantastic job, the museum personnel, at explaining what is happening. And people like that. And I imagine they've probably converted a few people into wanting to learn and to do it for themselves and go and explore the museum. And that's what this weekend is all about.
And now, of course, you mentioned that there's the street fair as well. And if you're into arts and crafts, if you're into pottery, or just into, kind of eating your way down the street, there's all sorts of different vendors that you can enjoy. And it seems like I've noticed that offering seems to get bigger every year as well.
It is. It's actually very exciting. And we're well over 35 now. And these artisans are coming from all over the country. And they're complemented by our fantastic businesses. Many of our businesses have artists that they feature their wares throughout the year, and they have them as guests over the weekend. And then our restaurants come out with their delicious offerings as well. So, to me, it's the best of both worlds because you get to sample what our businesses offer all year long and these wonderful talents from across the country.
And Mike, I don't know about you, but I have to go down every year. My husband and I, we walk downtown, we have to have the German roasted nuts. Those are our favorite, and it's not Memorial Day weekend if we can't go downtown, and if they're not there, there will be a riot, I have to say.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and I have to admit, I do join you with that passion.
Well, and it's little nuances like that, or grabbing an ice cream cone or a sundae and sitting and watching one of the demonstrations, or the flame-offs, or one of the groups that might be performing out on the street. You know, it really is an exciting time to be in Corning, and there's so much for so many people to do. And it is very important to us and the other sponsors, and each year we've added many more sponsors that we try and make this as cost-effective as possible. And so while Coleen mentioned that there is a small charge for the beer and wine tasting, at the same time you can come up on Friday night, go over to the park, and that concert's for free. So I mean, so there's a mix of everything for everyone of all ages, that's for sure.
And now Nick and the Nice Guys, not the only concert happening over the weekend. There is a, I guess you can say a fan favorite by now. Last year was the first year, and they'll be coming back this year as well. So I'm super excited about that, and we'll talk about that in our next segment, so please stick around.
Twin Tier Sunday will return in a moment.
Welcome back. We're continuing our conversation about the 4th annual GlassFest happening Memorial Day weekend in Corning in the Gaffer district, and we talked about some of the great events that are happening Thursday and Friday. And of course, this is a 4-day event starting Thursday night with the 2300 degrees, and it continues. And now we're talking about Saturday, and we have a huge community of runners in this area. I was really surprised to learn how many people are so passionate about running. But of course, we've got the Wine Glass Running Club, and you know, there's such a enthusiastic group of people that over the past couple of years you've added a race. And so it is the GlassFest 8K happening Saturday morning, and that, you know, more and more people seem to want to sign up for that every year.
They do. We have a great partnership with the Wine Glass Marathon Group. And fortunately, Gorilla Glass from Corning has been a wonderful sponsor to make the 8K possible. And it starts over in the stadium on Saturday morning. And I believe online we're close to 200 registrants already. And we expect 500 or more runners for that race Saturday morning.
Oh, wow.
It was very exciting last year when we were out getting set up on Saturday, and all of a sudden we saw all these people filing into the street with their 8K jerseys on. It was kind of cool. And they spend the weekend. People travel from all over to run and then enjoy GlassFest.
Absolutely. That race is nice and early in the morning, so you can get your morning run in if you want to, and then go walk down to the streets and enjoy some of the vendors and take in a hot glass show as well. And now a Saturday is really kind of jam-packed with a bunch of different things. So if, you know, maybe you don't have off Friday and Saturday, but you want to make a point of coming down over the weekend, maybe Saturday afternoon, bringing the family down, what are some of the things that maybe we didn't get to talk about yet that people can enjoy?
Well, along the lines of free activities, there is a lot of entertainment slated for the weekend for kids. Parents don't have a lot of money to spend on entertaining the children. Thanks to the generosity of Chemung Canal and other sponsors, we can make it affordable. And it will be throughout the weekend, throughout the downtown. If they go to glassfest.org or the GlassFest Facebook page, there's a full schedule. But it's everything from face painting to the bouncy house and all that type of thing. We also have a miniature train that kids can ride. We first debuted that at Sparkle, and it was a huge hit. Backed by popular demand, it'll be a GlassFest.
And, okay.
Well, and I know some of the merchants are doing some things in front of their stores as well to try and be a little bit more interactive. I know Ginny Kuhn is going to have some activities in front of Imagine That, and usually our friends at the UPS store have something about how to pack a glass in a package and not break it. So there's lots of neat little things up and down the street so that the kids can be entertained and kind of pulled along, so that they don't have to just sit in a chair or on a blanket all day long and hope that that they'll be happy campers.
And then I've noticed that this really gets some of the merchants on Market Street outside of their own doors. And it's not just trying to draw people in, but to get them out and introducing themselves and showing off what they have to offer in hopes that people will maybe come back another day and get to explore and come in.
Absolutely. We have 3 experiential businesses in the district. Wine and Design, where you can go and paint your own painting. They will be inside their shop as well as out on the street doing classes. Soulshine Bead Studio, you can go and make yourself a piece of jewelry. That'll be an exciting addition as well. And then we have the Crafting Cottage, where you can go and make cards and postcards and what have you throughout the weekend. So they really do want to invite people to experience what they offer every day.
And of course, there's also the scavenger hunt that has gotten very popular. Find the gorilla, which has come to be so closely known with Gorilla Glass, of course, you mentioned, is another great sponsor. And talk a little bit about, either one of you talk a little bit about how that works and where you're supposed to look, and there's prizes too.
Yes. They would go to any participating business in the information center to pick up their card. It tells you what business has the little, I think it's a 5x5 stand-up card with the gorilla image on it. And our businesses hide it within the business, hide it in plain sight. And you go in and find it, and you get the clerk to initial your card. Once you fill that card, you turn it back into the information center, and you might win a laptop with Gorilla Glass and several other great prizes. I'll tell you, we do this type of thing throughout the year, and this is the #1 scavenger hunt. Everybody seems to want to win a laptop.
And I've noticed, even if maybe you're not taking part of the scavenger hunt, I've been in some of the businesses that weekend and be like, oh, there's the gorilla, I found it. And now, of course, we're running out of time, but big concert Saturday night.
Absolutely. It's the #1 Journey tribute band in the country, DSB. And if you know anybody that went to GlassFest last year, especially on Saturday night.
That was me.
Yeah. It was amazing. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. I was a little hesitant, and I had a ball. I mean, when you saw the excitement, you heard the quality performance given by DSB, and then it got a little dark, and we had this tremendous fireworks display. I mean, it was really a great way to kick off the Memorial Day weekend. We ended on Saturday, and then, by the way, we get up and started kind of all again on Sunday.
Absolutely. Now, this band, DSB, a fantastic Journey cover band, so authentic sounding. You really think you're listening to the real thing. And of course, the fireworks display, amazing as well. It rivals any 4th of July fireworks I think you could go to around here. And now, of course, we want to talk quick about Sunday, because there's another special thing happening on Sunday. The Superstars, if you haven't heard of them, they're very popular, and I believe that was a little bit of a secret. I don't know if I'm giving anything away.
Secret's out of the bag.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So sorry.
No, we're glad. We're glad. They were just at the arena not too long ago, and I understand people went crazy for them. Again, free. The kids will love it. If you don't know what Superstars is, go to glassfest.org and you can learn more about it.
Okay, and of course, so again, so much to talk about for the weekend. We can't possibly all fit it in. And so if you're joining us halfway through the show and you'd be like, oh, I've never been to GlassFest, maybe I want to check it out this year. Coleen, where can they go to find out more information?
Glassfest.org or the GlassFest Facebook page.
Okay, well, Coleen and Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about GlassFest. And I hope I see you down at GlassFest this year. Again, that's May 23rd through the 26th in Corning's Gaffer District. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and you have a wonderful Sunday.